Gentlemen.
Yes, it is. It is indeed. I tell you what, Pocket Jay decided to dress like me today, buddy. I appreciate it. Jay, I know I'm your hero, and it's amazing to see it on full display. You look great.
Yeah, man, you are my hero, my friend. Let me just tell you, I look up to you in that bronze rank play. Like, it's unbelievable, your performance, you know? So I just wanted to come out here and look like you today. Hopefully, I'm not shooting like you, but we look good, kid. We look good.
Okay. All right. Shots exchanged already. I love it, Jay. I love you. HyDra Hardpoint. This is going to be a fun series, by the way. Toronto versus Seattle. Both teams off of pretty surprising losses yesterday. I think for sure it's got to be Ultra that is the more shocking of the two, but both teams also played HyDra HP yesterday, so you're trying to make some adjustments coming into today. How do you feel about both these squads, buddy? Give us a nice little rundown on how you feel like this series is going to go, specifically starting things off here in game one.
Yeah, this game number one is everything on the side of Seattle Surge, man, because the way that they lost yesterday just wasn't good. They're so far in the last 6 hard points.
Okay.
They're 1-5. We're going to get a restart, so it gives me a little bit more time to talk about this game. So on the side of Seattle Surge, like I said, man, struggling in their hard point as of recent. They also played this map yesterday versus the LA Thieves, and the biggest thing that I took away with it is that they were winning a majority of the rotations, just their setups were not the best. They were getting instantly broken every single time and could not find an entry right back in. So that eventually led to LA Thieves walking away with that map number one. And then the opposite side for Toronto, this is a great hard point for them, man. When you talk about their overall record sitting at 5-1, what makes them so good at this map is that they are number 1 in breaks and number 2 on rotations. They have the fundamentals down packed. And when you have the American MVP in Scrapz taking over, leading in the comms, it's definitely going to help you a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. Two players that I think it's fair to say that we want to highlight when it comes down to a matchup like this, Ultra versus Surge. Two players that you instantly think of for either side. When it comes down to these squads, it is Scrappy for the Toronto Ultra and Pred from the Seattle Surge. Jay, this is going to be a very fun matchup to watch. And you know, we got to talk about both these players. You also have to bring up the MVP conversation. These numbers, the most impressive thing to me, buddy, is that, like, look at the consistency across every single game mode for both of these guys.
Oh yeah, both of these guys are some of the best players that we have in the game. You see the consistency, like you said, my friend. 1.12, 1.15, almost a mirror image. But that S&D is what really stands out to me, because Seattle, they struggled in S&D for quite some time, and Pred is still holding a 1.21 KD. So both stellar players in their own right, two completely different roles, but when you ask someone to take over, they definitely have that ability. So it's going to be a great matchup between both of those guys.
Yeah, it's funny, I kind of forget, like, it's almost like when Octane previously played with the Seattle Surge, like in Search to Destroy specifically. Like, I remember he was like dropping bombs, he had a super high KD, and the team really struggled in that mode. I don't know what it is, maybe just a little bit of a trend. Let's go back to our maps and modes. Let's go ahead and revisit those a bit. I know we had a brief moment where we were flying in for HyDra. We'll get the chance to do that again, but Jay, I want to give you the chance to talk about games 2, 3, 4, and 5. How do you feel about the map set, the map bans, anything that you're specifically keeping in mind?
I feel like the game 2 is a square. Both of these teams don't really have a lot of success on that LSE low, with both having a record of 3 and 4. One team is really good at defense, one team is really good at attacking, so it's gonna be a battle there. But that hotel control is just a square up, man. Both of these guys love themselves some hotel control, and if you are Seattle, you got to make sure that you're on point, because Toronto, they are the best team in the game at that mode. And even on hotel, the best defensive team as well, where usually defense is not that easy to win when you get to this high level gameplay. But as you go forward, the map number 4, Fortress, we know what Seattle like to do. And even if it gets to that map number 5, that's where it gets a little scary for Seattle, because 1-5 overall record, cannot win a defense on Fortress. They just haven't had a good time there. So if you are Seattle, you got to get it done before you get to 5.
Yeah, I feel like too for Seattle, like, you know, at least in my eyes, I don't know about you, as we're loading in for this hard point, I think I'm definitely keeping an eye more on those blue arrows than I am on the purple ones, just given the fact of the recent struggles for Seattle in the HPs. We know lately in Search Destroy, it hasn't been great, despite the last time we were in our Major IV Qualifiers, they were looking great in Search and Destroy. And on top of it all, Seattle Surge recently actually have some competition now for that 7th seed. Minnesota, after their home series yesterday, they have now tied them in that position. So if you are Surge, you want to walk away with the dub and provide a little bit of a cushion between you and Røkkr.
Yeah, so the pressure is on. That's all you have to tell me for Seattle Surge. They have to start to figure it out. Well, they would not be one of those teams that make it in towards chance with Minnesota finding those 2 wins, big wins to tie up in the CDL points column as we get early into this P1. It's been back and forth, scrappy with Toronto spawning on the bad side, but at least Seattle are doing a great job of maintaining those spawns for P2. They're thinking big picture. They're going to win that rotation, but look at the player that sneaks on by. Dead silence already invested from Hicksy.
And how about it being the young player? As we know, Hicksy, first event managed to win a championship, and it was based off of plays like this, oftentimes labeled as the dirty work type of player. And right now he is doing it. 2 and 2, make it 3 and 2, cuts away accuracy, and look at what that does now for the Ultra. Tosses really a stun off of the chest of his teammate, and things begin to collapse. Thankfully for Surge, they will stabilize and handle what was a very pesky play coming in from the rookie.
Yeah, Hicksy almost made that play happen for Toronto. They just could not take care of the SMG duo on the side of Seattle Surge as they were able to combine for 3, break in through the front. But instantly, Toronto put a lot of pressure in through Broken. They were able to flip the spawns right on back with only 30 seconds left. It's looking like it's going to go to the Ultra. And now you're going to force Seattle Surge to hit that early rotation. They're still maintaining map control. They're trying to keep the pressure on, keep a couple layers away from that next hill.
And one thing too, Jay, that we were talking about it when it came down to the vetoes, like Toronto, Seattle, as we said, they both matched up, or rather in their matchups yesterday, they both played HyDra hardpoint, but it was obviously a dub yesterday for Toronto. That now makes it 5 in a row in terms of HyDra hardpoint W's for Toronto, and a lot of that is based off of their breaks. We see that be done at P2. We'll see if they can make it happen again. For Seattle, a great opportunity at that last hard point. That chance gets squandered, and we'll see how they can try to maintain things now moving into P3. Pred in the water, trying to cause some issues, maybe lighten the load for the rest of the teammates.
Oh, this is great work so far from Seattle Surge. They're making sure that they block those back spawns. You have Pred all the way pushed out towards P1 side, knowing that they're all coming from Dome. Eventually, he does get cut down, but that's been 30 seconds uncontested so far, which now leads to Seattle Surge taking the lead for now. Toronto Ultra, though, still putting pressure on from the front with only 20 seconds left. They want to try to at least get him off of this time, not give it all up. Maintain those spawns for next. That's why you see Inside already backing his way up towards that P4. But look at the spawn. Mack actually is able to spawn right behind him. That's going to be a huge engagement.
Yeah, and you actually noticed throughout that hill, Seattle started to progressively move a few members forward, keeping in mind the spawn that could occur for Toronto. We've got big battles going on both sides of the map. The player number 3, that one in Inside, is able to win a crucial 1v1. That is now going to make things a little bit more manageable now here for the Ultra moving forward. And with that, they will hold on to path for now. But from the front side, it is Pred and Sib trying to lock things down. As we know, the dynamic duo on this Surge lineup trying to put in some work. Currently a 3-point game, and really we're waiting for somebody to hop on that hill, Jay.
We're waiting for somebody to hop on that hill. It's looking like Toronto Ultra are going to be able to take the lead right on back. But let's step aside and let's go to the comms with Seattle Surge. See if they got some fight into them going to the next hill.
He's gonna hop up sign. I'm playing right. He's gonna hop up sign. Yeah, that means Hicksy sign.
Okay, I'm running back.
Sign.
No, he's open. Challenge you guys. Open challenge you guys. Open, out there. Nice. Go.
Trying to hit. So when you go top close,
he's gonna hold it left.
Yeah, I stunned there close. I'm trying to kill the guys pushed up. I stunned him close. He could be lower. He's on the sign. Okay. I need it close.
I'm top close right now.
I got naded.
Trying to heal the anything front. I don't see him on the god rock.
He's on the god rock. He's laying down.
Yeah, we cannot kill that guy. He's on the god rock laying down. Rune's dead. On the god rock.
He jumped down. Close right. Yeah, I'm trying.
Top plat and god rock.
I'm right in the back.
God rock and then
top. I stun him. God rock dead. God rock the right. I stun back there in front. This full front. I'm trying to work top.
Window side top weak. I go nade. God rock. I'm in front. Window side top.
Top weak.
Top in front door. Top in front door.
Top pile in front.
Top. Dante, hold on.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you.
We're coming, bro. We're coming. We cut him.
Back door.
Great little check in there with Seattle. I mean, as we said, man, as the first set of rotations begin to come to a close, it just feels like for Surge, a few opportunities where they allow for Toronto not just to keep this one competitive, but to keep this one pretty much on the inverse. Toronto with a slight lead as Seattle begin to make their prowl right back into this game, but a few opportunities, like we said, Jay, where it feels like Surge, the scoreline should almost be reversed.
Yeah, the scoreline should definitely be reversed. Right there at the end of that P4, Seattle Surge, they were fully set up for that P5, but they didn't win a single gunfight, which eventually led Toronto Ultra to flip those swans, get a good amount of time, and maintain this lead going into our second rotation of hard points. But now it's an all-out battle around the P1. You see Toronto, they put pressure over towards Dome. They're able to flip those spawns. Now Seattle Surge have to try to soak as much time as they possibly can off of this P1. And if they win a couple gunfights, it's time to push on forward.
See what they can do with it. Big gunfights one there from Simp. Board gets cleared. We do see a few spawn outs happening. Player 6 on the right side, player 4 from Toronto on the left side. So a bit of chaoticness and accuracy. How about the great shots onto Hicksy, as he will have more competition to deal with, not expecting player 4 to be here. It is all out chaos going on here for HyDra. It's a race to P2, but thankfully it is CleanX locking things down in the back. A huge 1v1 now gives Toronto the spawn that they so desperately have been fighting for. A stressful and a frustrating moment there for Seattle. We'll see now if they can make the break.
And how do they decide to break it? They're trying to spread the map, have Pred be the only guy pushing from dome side. He invests that dead silence. He also has attack 56 in hand, so he's ready for the long range engagements. But he's just gonna move right back for free until he gets cut down by CleanX. Great shot from him. The pressure still here though from Seattle. Mack is able to find 2. They're able to get the break.
They still have the statue in the back though, inside. Still trying to make things a little bit easier toward the back lines. He's wanting to join alongside the rest of the squad mates, waiting for the pinch, but the kills are not happening. A nice 4 down for Surge. As we said, a chance for them to break at P2. They seize it, and they will have the lead. Now moving into next, and based off of that, they now allowed to send the Aussie forward. Predator indeed, looking to strike, eventually found, but now it could be the chance for Mack. A great game so far, now finds himself on the 4 spree. The SMG starting to fly, starting to fry. And right now for Surge, it feels like they have got the confidence. See if they can make the break once more. And Scrap, a bit of an off game, finally able to put 1 up on the board. 9-19 as he visits the respawn screen again.
Now if you are the Ultra, just got to make sure you're blocking those spawns, winning your gunfights towards the top hop, but one player is able to sneak right on by. It's going to be Pred with that dead silence invested. They're able to find 2 kills from the front. Pred finally strikes. Last player here is CleanX. He gets taken care of, and that is a perfect break coming in from Seattle. Beautiful communication, beautiful setup on the pitch, which is now going to allow them to walk away with this final 30 seconds. Toronto Ultra, got to cut your losses, got to set up for that P4.
Yeah, and you got to be frustrated, right? If you're Ultra in a situation like this, like, guys, there's like 28 seconds, but we have to go for the rotation. That's the way that it works here on HyDra. You got to cut your losses. And right now for Toronto, you got to hold a hill. This is really the situation that Seattle was in yesterday versus the LA Thieves. The hold's just not all that strong. And our last 2 HPs, it has been wonderful work from Seattle. On the other side, Mack, he goes for a dip. He eventually falls. And so with that, Toronto handled business for the first wave, but there are plenty of Seattle players still here. 1 more gets dealt with, and now it is all up to accuracy in the back. How about CleanX putting in work with attack 56?
Those some big kills right there from CleanX to secure those spawns for his team, allow them to flood on through the front. And continuously spawn Seattle Surge all the way across the map. Great shots from Hicksy, not able to pick up the kill, but now that's going to be 3 dead. All lift up the inside. Your teammates are still getting those back spawns, but Seattle put a lot of pressure to find and break. This is exactly what you want to do, knowing that you're going to have those spawns over towards next. Just got to take care of Insight, the 1 player that spawns out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, take a look at player number 3. In the meantime, for Seattle, they're able to get the break, at least make Toronto have to work. And with that, the spawns are not gonna be in a favorable position either for the Ultra, understandably so, given the positioning of their adversaries. Insight, he's been waiting here for such a long time, and now quickly, it is Ultra with numbers, Jay. We might have lost Jay. Not sure what's exactly going on. Oh, you're here, Jay. Okay.
I don't know what's going on, but we're back.
It's okay, Jay. It's all right. Take it away, buddy.
Toronto Ultra, they're trying to hold on. Seattle Surge, even with the back spawns, gonna be able to win the trade battles. Pred finds the final one onto Hicksy, because they're gonna be able to maintain this lead. But you see those spawns for Toronto, they're still gonna be in the back. Seattle, they get all the information that is needed. Just gotta make sure you win these next wave of gunfights, so that you can rotate early and get that dome spawn for the next hill.
And Pred starting to heat up again, 27 and 16. It just feels like spree after spree after spree for him. Surge, they have awoken on the second set of rotations. How is the third side going to treat us? And oftentimes when it comes down to positions like this, at a stage of the game like this, you've got to take a look on the right side of your mini-map. It is really all going to be about those P2 spawns. Who can be in primary position of it? Who can be in the more advantageous side? Currently, it is going to be Seattle. Mack with the great awareness is able to cut away 1. The flank opportunity, not able to work out for him. Surge, they could smell victory, but Toronto still fighting. A lot of time still to fight for at P1 as well.
Yeah, still definitely a lot of time. Seattle Surge had the ability to win it if they still want to put the pressure on, as Simp is able to find 2, but they're just thinking, we have to make sure we're not able to give up this 30 seconds and maintain those spawns for next. As Toronto Ultra is still getting those warehouse spawns. You do have one player in CleanX who wins a gunfight over towards Dome, but the spawns still have yet to flip. Seattle just doing a great job of just keeping them off that point. But it's all about these next wave of gunfights. Last 2 players from Seattle have to try to maintain this side of the map for their teammates. These are going to be some big gunfights, Lando.
This is Toronto Ultra, the #1 breaking team in the game on HyDra HP. Now's the time to put it to the test. Oh, Hixie! It felt like he had a gunfight that was guaranteed. Regardless of it, all of his teammates have now managed to make it toward the back. Mack overwhelmed in Ultra takeover.
Ultra takeover. That is a beautiful play to set up that pinch onto the player towards back. God Rock, the last player was on point. He eventually gets cut down. So Ultra, they can win the game here. They're maintaining the spawns. One player in Mack is going to be able to try to slip his way right through. He's probably going to be the playmaker, but he gets taken care of. Toronto Ultra, they're holding.
They are indeed, and now for Seattle on the back foot, they continue to get pushed on out. Nobody past that 50-yard line, and they have got to get a move on because Ultra can absolutely win it here. CleanX starting to go on a run. The same thing can be said for Insight. Here comes Surge, the potential last play of the game. Oh, and they're able to find 3. Seattle able to find the break, but they can't win it here. It is about the race toward new.
It's the rotation. It's all on Hixie and Scrap. The only 2 players here from Toronto Ultra. Seattle trying to set up the pinch. These kills are going to be big. They're able to find 2. Trades back and forth. Seattle are in.
Oh, it's currently a 2 versus 2. Seattle with close spawns. Simp, he's able to drop 2. Simp, can he make it 3? Oh, going down, but Scrap tosses out the nade. Seattle, too many bodies. Able to hold on and take Toronto off of their hot streak. 5 in a row on HyDra comes to a commanding halt as Seattle Surge come away with the clutch and come away with the huge Game 1 win.
Man, what an ending to that hard point that was, man. If accuracy does not find his way towards top dome and make his way to that contest in towards P2, I thought Toronto Ultra were going to be able to close it out there. But once he contests that point, his teammates then attack from broken. You flood the numbers, you find the break. Then even off the rotation, they were finding a majority of the kills on the map. 2 Toronto players spawned all the way at next, which was Hixie and Scrap. But you take care of them in the 4v2 situation. You get the close spawn towards the back, and eventually you win the trade battle to close out what was an insane map #1. Look at the damage from Sid, man. 4,100. He was putting down shots, but I think the guy that I really wanted to talk about is the guy who didn't have the best performance yesterday in Mack, sitting at 26 and 28, 3,500 damage. He was just finding 2-piece after 2-piece every single time Seattle Surge needed him to do so. Great teamwork from Seattle to take map 1.
Yeah, it just felt like a team victory. I mean, obviously, as we know, it was chaotic. It was Toronto who started off so great, as we'll look through the highlights, but you caught it perfectly, man. I feel like throughout this game, it was Mack. I mean, he had such a wonderful beginning to this hard point, 10 and 6. And actually coming into HyDra HP, I believe he had like a 0.77 KD, the lowest in the lobby. And while it's not above a 1, you definitely felt his presence around the map. But as we said, Jay, just felt like a team victory. Surge felt like break after break toward the stretch. They started to feel some confidence, and then all out chaos over at P2. I mean, that is one play that I think we're going to be looking at the most for what could really be the life, maybe the confidence now that Surge have moving forward.
Oh yeah, without question, man, because you needed something to stand on. The thing is, with Seattle Surge, it's usually always been their hard point, but that is where they have been struggling as of recent. 1-5 out of their last 6. That now makes it 2-5 in their last 7. Finally getting a win versus the Toronto Ultra. But what an insane finish to this game, man. Simp was able to cut down 2. You get those close spawns. You see the reactions for Seattle Surge. Sam Phoenix instantly from behind the backdrop gets the boys hype at Seattle Surge. Nice in that 1-0 lead so far.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it for Surge. I mean, when it comes down to this map set, when it comes down to just search and destroys, whatever it is, I think Ant was talking about it, how they're choosing Team B. They're nervous about that Game 5 search and destroy. So whatever it is, we talked about it. Seattle, they need to finally win some of those HPs. It's been a recent struggle for them toward the end of the Texas Major and so far throughout our Major IV qualifiers, but they're able to win this one. And like I said, it's really what we wanted to see yesterday versus the LA Thieves, Jay. It felt like at times it was the Pred show. At times it was the accuracy show. There wasn't really this moment where it was a lot of cohesion as a team. It feels like right there we were able to see it. A great team victory, it feels like, for Surge in that game one.
That's what it looks like in Hardpoint. Like when we see LA Thieves, it's never, whenever they're beating teams in Hardpoint, no one's going crazy. No one has like a 1.3. Everyone's probably sitting about a 1.0 or a 0.9. And that's just the teamwork. True. Everyone is flying around, shooting together at the same time, using the teamwork to the best of their ability. And that's how you want to play Call of Duty. It's not all about the stat padding. It's about the small things, the team shots, the communication. And that's what Seattle Surge were able to do great in that map number 1. Signs from what they didn't do yesterday. Complete turnaround so far.
Yeah, and maybe Seattle with the awareness of the standings right now. The two players we got to talk about moving into this next Search Destroy. It's the battle of the Iceman. Accuracy definitely currently holds that title, but Insight has definitely been in a spot like that a time or two. But we'll go and talk about the Search Destroy numbers for both of these players. Obviously for Jamie Craven, rocking a 1.04 so far throughout this season. I hate to say it, Jay, but it's not been a great year for Lamar so far throughout S&D.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not even worried about the stats. I'm looking about the first blood column. 8% and 6%. These guys are not moving at the beginning of rounds, and they're also not dropping as well.
I mean, that's why they're the clutch spots, Jay.
Yeah,
you don't want to get involved at first. You need it at the end of the rounds.
That's exactly what you want to do, man. We saw Insight ever since he's joined the CDL, man. He's been one of the best Search and Destroy players when it comes down to those 1v1s, 1v2s, or even 1v3s. He has the ability to clutch it in. Lamar, aka Accuracy, the guy who invented the nickname Iceman. We know what he is capable of in Search and Destroy, and he has to bring it here because Toronto Ultra, at least the last time we saw them play this map, they were able to end Atlanta FaZe's win streak in S&D. So that's a very big thing if you are Toronto Ultra. You got to come out with that same momentum like you did in map number 1.
Yeah, screw the record. It was like 3-4. Now we're 1-0. We are maybe 10-0 after beating Atlanta FaZe. That is a triumph indeed. A 6-3 win, as you said last time they faced off against Atlanta FaZe. Into round 1 we go. It's Accuracy, who actually does find a first blood, Jay.
Nice.
The percentages are improving. They are increasing. And how about that round from Surge? Accuracy gets a first blood, and look what happens.
Wow.
The team thrives.
Yeah, Accuracy, just get in the mix, brother. Get that first blood for your team. Your teammates are thinking, wow, Lamar, you got that one? We're definitely not losing this round. Great job from Seattle to put the pressure on through bottom mid. One thing that Toronto Ultra do struggle with is simply their attacking rounds. They're awful when you get that bomb down, but even if you don't get it planted, Seattle Surge were there for every single engagement. They walk away with round 1.
And something yesterday that really was kind of eye-opening, man, was just the performance from Pred and just the lack thereof for the rest of the squad. I mean, Pred has been on an absolute beamer lately in Search and Destroy. Rest of the team, not so much. That is a wonderful team ace off the rip that maybe is starting to improve things. We talked about game 1. It was a team victory. Well, round 1, it was a team victory for Surge. They got to do it in numbers, but this time it's Kleenex. The Great Dane was able to answer early. And how about the shifty movement to utilize that post to his advantage? Is he ready for Pred? You bet it. Wonderful work there for Kleenex. 3v2.
Oh, that's a good job right there from Kleenex to find those 2 kills. Bomb's now going to be down towards top plat. His Accuracy is able to get that angle from top radio, takes down Insight. This was his favorite spot yesterday, on control. And he puts himself in that position again, but now in the 2v2, Kleenex is going to invest that dead silence. Simp just ran out of his. So what's the play call coming in from Seattle? Do they decide to route this bomb all the way towards B? Because Toronto have full mid-map control now.
And something that both squads are going to be feeling about in this situation like this. Toronto, the SMG. Seattle, the ARs. I know in S&D it doesn't always mean that, but little things that you're thinking about in the clutch moments. What's the weapons that both players could have? What's the positioning that both players on the other side could have? Time begins to tick. The nades are tossed out. Toronto know that it's surely got to be a B plant now. A little late to the party, but can the plant go through? Accuracy with Overwatch, and he's got both. Not only can he do it at the start of rounds, but he can do it at the end. A big 2v2 as Accuracy cleans them both up. And speaking of 2, Surge now 2-0 up.
Oh, man, that's just good work right there from Seattle. Even after getting first blooded with Kleenex finding 2 massive kills on the round, Accuracy, the Iceman, No pressure to his name. He finds that first kill onto Insight. They wait the clock out. They know that they were not able to spot any of the SMG players trying to hit a route. So they just work over towards B. Simp gets it down. Accuracy holds the cross. And he's able to find the final 2 kills on the round. Already 4-0 to start this S&D.
See if Ultra can start to wake up a bit. Already bruised and battered. It's really that 2-piece from Kleenex that has been it so far for them. Another first blood. This time it's going to come in from Mack. So with that, yeah, you can see Kleenex. He's trying to get aggressive. He just lost his SMG duo, and now the entire team has taken a tumble. And now it is inside. Oh, good heavens. Oh, we surely can't show a replay of that. That is, oh, God, that's not good.
Yeah, Mack might get locked up for murder right there, because that is unacceptable. If you want Insight, you got to be able to win that gunfight. But Mack with the snap, no hesitation on the push. Another dominant defensive round. Seattle Surge, they're just shutting down that A push. You saw Hicksy. He was just jumping into that A bomb, no hesitation, and he just wasn't ready for that player in towards sight. Probably want to get your teammate to assist you in that play, but once you get bombed down, once you get that first blood, you saw the trade was about to come in. Sid was able to cut down another 2. But it's been flawless search and destroy so far from Seattle. Only 2 deaths for the entire squad.
That definitely puts it into perspective a bit. Oh, and Kleenex, a moment where you think, okay, here's Toronto's chance. Here's their opportunity. It's almost as if Seattle knows exactly where Kleenex is hiding. Looks to make his way up toward top office, but it is accuracy. Another first blood for him. He's able to answer, and with that, what did Toronto do? Scrappy trying to stay alive. Did not have a great map 1 performance, and so far 0-3 for him. Thankfully, Insight gets on the board, and so does Scrappy. Toronto keeping this one alive for the first time. They've got numbers.
Oh, that's good stuff right there from Scrap to get that kill and get out with his life. He's going to get the information onto Simp as well, but look at Pred. He's just waiting for his chance to strike. He's able to come up right behind Scrap. Also get out with his life. Now he makes it a 2v2. The sophomores versus Insight and Hicksy.
On Pred. They've just gotten a bit of info there on to Insight. So with that, 20 seconds to go. Plan has to be made. Pred not exactly sure where Insight could have gone. Sib, in the meantime, actually does clean him up. So now it is all up to Hicksy, the rookie. Now finding himself in a 1v2. As we said, the bomb has got to get planted, and it will. The kill yet to go his way. And now the engagements could favor him. Tosses out a nade. He knows both players have got to be in this spotted mattress. The door opened. The opportunity. Hicksy sees it. The chance is there. Able to fight one. Oh, and Sib and Seattle with numbers hold off Hicksy. And what would have been a monumental 1 versus 2. The confidence was there from the Rook, but not able to get it done. And Surge continue their reign of terror. 4-0.
4-0 for Seattle. Just simply not making any mistakes. Even in 2v3 situations, they are finding a kill, making a manageable play, and then sneaking out the last player to force it to a 2v1. I thought Hicksy stood a great chance at clutching that round, but with no dead silence, all the sound cues are going to be on the side of Seattle Surge. Now up 4-0 in the series, in the search and destroy, with Sib already earning that cruise.
Dude, what is going on? Like, what is happening right now, Jay?
I don't know which Seattle Surge this is, man.
I don't either. Like, what team are we watching right now? Kleenex, great stun for information. Thankfully, Toronto starting off this round hot. Better late than never. A few times they've had numbers, and it has not equaled out to much. Okay, Sib, a chance to go for the shot. Insight there with the beamer. A frustrated Toronto Ultra surely should have their first round on the board now. But it's all up to Mack. What can he do?
Mack in the 1v3. Bomb is still going to be down. He also does not have that silence. Kleenex is able to hear him switch his weapons towards top mid. Is able to land the headshot to close out the round. Finally, Toronto able to stop that bleeding. Just great pressure over towards the courtyard. You take down accuracy. Even though Sid found one with the nade, you don't allow the 2v3 to happen this time around. Toronto Ultra now down 4-1.
We'll see what Ultra can do with this. I mean, obviously, we've seen some crazy Surge comebacks happen before. Yeah. We've seen it even yesterday happen multiple times. So, go ahead, Jay.
We saw it for Toronto yesterday. One thing that they were really good at was making those mid-round adjustments. Even though they did lose both Search and Destroys, that's one thing that this team is great at doing. So, Hopefully they start to read the setups on the side of Seattle Surge, and you already see it on this defensive round. As CleanX pushes his way towards Kegs, he's getting a couple sound cues. The pressure's going to come over towards B side.
The utility toss, they're going to know that more than one thing has been thrown. And so for CleanX, the information is there. The comms are known. Over at field, we've got 2 Seattle Surge members. What does Toronto do with this info? Early shots exchanged, and CleanX not able to find the kill. He jumps out toward middle, and Pred is going to drop him there. So for Toronto, like I said, it feels like they have all the information in the world, and somehow they not only get killed for the first, but the second and the third. Scrappy now left in a 1v4. How quickly this round has gone the other way.
Oh my. Seattle Surge with the perfect game plan. You send 2 players over towards fields. You get the guys that like to be aggressive in through Kegs alley to peek through Kegs. But once you get him to back down, he runs right into the first blood, into Pred. Then accuracy, he so far has had the number on inside. When you talk about those island gunfights, so he was able to take him down once again. And then when you take down that last player that was in towards the site, you know that Scrap had to be that player over towards B bomb. 1v4 situation, no hesitation. Don't even work the bomb plant. You go for the beatdown to not put yourself at game point.
I just don't know like what that round was though, Jay. Like it just looked like for Toronto, you got everything. Like you got the angles covered. Sloppy round, and now 1 round away is Surge from quickly going up 2-0. First, the defending Major III champions. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but how can you not? Looking at the way this game has gone so far. An instant 2v3 now for Surge. It is Sib and Mack. And now just make it Sib. Able to find the trade. 2 more to go.
2 more to go. As the bomb is now going to get planted. He might get some great timing if he just checks bomb, but going to pick up that SMG and get out with his life. Rotates his way all the way back towards lockers. Should be able to get an engagement here soon.
Time continues to tick. Sib. Element of surprise. Able to drop another. Insight versus Sib. A round that could close out the game, or maybe one that could start to spiral a bit of a comeback. 20 seconds to go. Sib, hearing the footsteps, knows exactly where Jamie Craven is hiding. Problem being, no dead silence. Does he go for the jump? Does he wait for Insight to go for the chow? And Insight, patience is going to pay off. Toronto Ultra, regardless of how this gun engagement goes, it is going to be their round. And Insight able to keep alive for the squad. A shaky game up to this point, but it starts with clutches like that. It starts with rounds like that. Toronto finally get their second.
Yeah, that was just good work right there from Insight. Just keep that angle. Don't over peek, because Sib was just waiting for him to turn that corner. But he knew the dead silence was not going to be there for Sib. Sound cues are going to be on his side. You throw a couple shoulders towards that bomb. You know he's not defusing. The round is going to be yours. So Toronto Ultra now down 5-2. Going to send Seattle on the attacking side. I think if you are Seattle, you got a cruise missile to work with. You call this in. You get your information. You plant the bomb over towards B.
Instantly into this round. Insight bringing out the big guns. I think for Surge, they definitely saw that flashlight across the map. They saw that glint from the scope pop up on the other side of the field. Nades exchange, and Hixie with a bit of info. Scrap, meanwhile, his old good challenger buddy eventually found, and that is the only layer of defense that Toronto had on that side of the map. That is a quick plant and an instant retake position now for Toronto.
Now in the 4v3, if I'm Sib, I'm just calling in this cruise. You want to get all the information on where they're going to be playing from. So he's just holding down an angle. Matt finds his second on the round. CleanX at least finds one onto Pred. But now in the 3v2 with only 30 seconds left, someone has to stick that defuse, and there's multiple players from Seattle ready for the push.
Well, actually, he actually has made his way into the site. He has made his way into the site. He's made his presence felt with that. Mack able to win one, and now it comes in to the 1v1. Hixie
gotta go.
Jumps on the defuse, and now Lamar, he's got to turn it up.
Run!
He's gonna run. Oh, he's beating down the air. Hixie right on the defuse. Toronto aware of the players, aware of the map positioning and accuracy, just not able to get there in time. There is plenty of iron boot jokes that we could make, but we'll hold off for now. Toronto stay alive based off the narrow plays.
And that could be a game changer round. Right there, Seattle, they were able to find that first play. You get the bomb down over towards B. You still have Simp with the cruise missile. I would have liked to see him just invest that. Get the information, even if you don't pick up a kill, so your teammate's able to set up properly around it. But Toronto Ultra, and more specifically HyDra, goes massive to clutch up that round for Ultra. Stay alive in this search and destroy. Now down 5-3. They're going to slow this one down. Every single time they've been aggressive in towards A, Seattle have shut the door immediately. Now time is starting to tick. No one's budging. You're just playing for your info.
It's funny because I do feel like there's been a few times where we watched Toronto on LSClo. They've had some wild diffusing games versus other squads. But already into this round, it is a first blood granted for Ultra. And take a look at player number 3 in Insight. He's going to win this gun engagement. No, not going to happen. Pred with a shifty movement ends up staying alive, at least for the time. So information found. Top side of the map is going to be cleared there for Surge. In the meantime, Pred does rock dead silence as Ultra looks to make their presence felt inside of the bomb site. aBeZy looks to plant that one down. Warehouse cleared, and now it is up to accuracy. 1v3.
1v3. Dead silence still not earned, but this might not be a round that you want to invest it in. Get the information on the Scrapz. The drop down comes down from CleanX. That's Toronto Ultra, man. I told you, those mid-round adjustments, they're starting to show them. Couple rounds in a row to keep themselves in this search and destroy. Now down 5-4. If you are Seattle, the pressure is definitely on. So in this next round, Sib's gotta use this cruise missile.
And what wasn't like Seattle up yesterday, Jay, versus LAPs?
Yeah, they were up 4-1. They were up 4-1. Then they lost 4 straight.
Okay. Well, and one thing too, I think Toronto, they were up. Were they up like 4-1 yesterday versus Boston?
Yep,
I want to say in the
Boston.
game 2 S&D.
Same thing.
For sake. My word, clutch has definitely been a factor of both these teams have been playing. And right now, talk about the heroics from the Ultra. As you called it, a streak. When are we going to see it come through? In the meantime, for Surge, it appears to be the time to bring it in on the attack. They've got all their arrows positioned for a B bomb site play. And right now, it is all about info. Seattle have gotten it, and what do they do with it?
Oof.
And here comes Ultra.
Yeah, this might get scary because Ultra know what play they're trying to go for. You have Scrapz working his way all the way around towards Cliff side. Should be able to set himself up for a nice little angle, but Pred is able to find that first blood onto HyDra. A couple players from Toronto around the site, but they're all getting cut down.
And now it's all up to CleanX. It's all up to Toby. He falls as well. And Seattle managed to stay alive. We're up 5 rounds to 1 and just allowed for Ultra to stay there with them, making the Seattle fans sweat just a bit. And how about that streak placement at the end? We were waiting for it. We were waiting for when Simp was going to bring in that cruise missile. Finally does, and watch what happens when he eventually brings it forward. Surge, they clean everything up, and it's a wonderful dub for the squad. We've been doing a lot of research in the Seattle Surge search destroy numbers. The recent slump that they have been on, it's been all Pred. This time, it was the rest of the squad getting things done, Jay.
Everybody came out to play, man. You see accuracy with 2 first bloods. He was at 6% before this map started. But when you start off round number 1, getting 1, the confidence is going to be there from your teammates as he goes 8-4 alongside Simp, who earns himself that cruise missile to eventually close out this game. It got a little scary, but Seattle Surge knew the perfect game plan to close out that final round. To now put themselves up 2-0 in the series. This is the best case scenario because now you win your hard point, which you have been struggling in. You win your search and destroy, which has been a recent struggle for this team as well. And now you're going into your best mode into control, man. Seattle Surge, completely different team today.
Yeah, a completely different team. And for Toronto, this kind of looks exactly like how the Boston game went for them just yesterday, right? When they were facing off against them, they went down 0-2. They managed to make a nice little comeback, but couldn't get it done in a game 5. Will we see some similar life? Maybe an actual reverse sweep happen for the defending Major 3 champions, or are they about to start off their Major 4 campaign 0-2? We will have to find out as this game maybe has only just begun. We'll see you back for Hotel Control right after this.
The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck. Upgrade your game with the Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by the new series Citadel, premiering on April 28th, only on Prime Video.
Well, howdy friends, and welcome back to the Major IV Qualifiers. Hope you are all enjoying your lovely Sunday. And I'll tell you what, we love those people right there. Shout out to our production team, Esports Engine, locking it down. We are definitely taking a look at every single person's desktop screen. You got to keep in mind, there's a lot of little tidbits, little funny things going on there in the production side. We're watching you guys, but Jay, so far throughout this series, I mean, this has been kind of crazy. Like Seattle up 2-0 over the Ultra. If you're new, Ultra just won the Major III championship. And you and I have started to have this convo a bit throughout the series and even during the break. Like, from what we've seen so far, Toronto, they lose yesterday to Boston, a slow start to that series. The same thing here for Seattle. Our defending champions are about to maybe start off 0-2. Is there an element, you think, of maybe a championship slump? Like, are Toronto a bit fat and happy right now?
I think it's definitely a case, man. When you win an event, you're probably thinking you're the best in the world. No team can touch you. So you're probably lacking off a little bit in scrims.
Wow.
But you just have to get back on that prime form because all these other teams, when they're going up against Toronto Ultra, one of the best teams in the game, they are on point. They are bringing their A game. And right now, Toronto, they're just simply getting caught slipping. You saw those stats from Scrapz, man. 0.6 overall in this series. This was the MVP at Major 3. Just took over whenever his team needed to. And now they have to try to complete a reverse sweep versus Seattle Surge. They got all the way to a Game 5 yesterday versus Boston and fell short. But now they're on their best control map. Going up against not an easy opponent in Seattle as well. One of their better controls for both squads.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, it's weird to like get back to the championship side of things. You know, the whole slump side as Toronto do find 3 off the rip. It's a great start of this round 1 in control, but it does make you wonder. Like, you know, I think all of us watched Blueprint, you know, given the drama that's been going on with Toronto lately.
Video, by the way.
It just feels like, man, this is a squad that's really not going to have that stuff really mess with them. It felt like they were even hungrier when it came down to jumping into Major 4, but I don't know, it's hard to argue against the results that we've seen.
It definitely is hard to argue. For a team to start off 0-2, falling to Boston and potentially falling to Seattle, their schedule does not get a lot easier. They got FaZe, they got Florida, and they also got Vegas. Vegas picking up that new player in Standing. They look like a completely different team, so you gotta show why you are the champions. 2 ticks already at both points. You're gonna be able to close out towards A. And now with 2 minutes on the clock, they only need 1 towards B. This is a great start from Toronto Ultra, starting this reverse sweep.
Yeah, a great start here for the Ultra. And finally are able to get that 3rd segment in, another minute added on to the clock. But as you said, the schedule for Ultra gets that much more interesting. Some fun battles, and they're going to end out their Major IV Qualifiers facing off against the man that they dropped, facing off against Standy. The biggest thing is that for Toronto, you don't want that to be a match, Jay, that you have to rely on winning. Like, we could be talking about that already. An 0-2 start, that could be a game that they have to win in order to get winners when we talk about Major IV. Just the conversations that we quickly have to have. Both teams cannot afford to start off 0-2, especially when we talk about the other side of the screen in Seattle Surge. But still, off to a wonderful start in this series so far throughout this control. Allow for that A zone to slip, but they have been rock solid on the defensive end over at B for the last 30-45 seconds. 1 more segment to go, and really 1 minute on the clock. Lives definitely could become a factor.
Oh, lives are definitely going to be a factor. Seattle Surge is doing a great job of roaming around the map, maintaining map control, and finding the kills when it's needed. 20-12 in lives remaining with only 50 seconds. If you are Toronto Ultra, at least you got some bedroom control. But it's all about these next set of gunfights. Accuracy at least starts it off with a big nade. Keeps the pressure slowed down. But Toronto Ultra know, we win these sets of gunfights, we will be able to close out this game.
And Pred trying to do a little bit of work. Great work, great coordination. Pops the dead silence, though, and does get overwhelmed.
Hey.
Accuracy, gotta be careful. He only takes a nade to the forehead. He's still beaming from range. 5 and 3 is that trophy. He's really not gonna do a whole lot. Explosives everywhere, and here comes Ultra. Here comes Toronto. Plenty of bodies on the point. This could be their chance. This could be their moment. Toronto jump right on forward. And despite the disparity in lives, Ultra run on in. They go for the capture. And what started off as greatness that then turned on into Seattle starting to have a great little moment. All it takes is one sequence, one situation. Toronto jump in and they seize it 1-0.
Yeah, I think the biggest kill right there from Toronto Ultra was taking down Pred in towards top bedroom. If Pred finds that kill towards top plan, just simply plays his life in towards top bed and makes Toronto slow down and continuously try to play for him. But once you take care of him, now you get the information. No players are put out towards bed. A couple of players are coming off a spawn. We can get on this point and stack it and win the trade battle. And with only 1 segment left, 2 stack was good enough to close out that round number 1. Now we get to watch the best team on defense on Hotel.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Toronto, unbelievably solid when we talk about the defensive side on Hotel control.
Not a good start.
Yeah, it's not what you'd think when it comes down to the gameplay on the screen, but I mean, hey, Seattle, they've been very, very solid on the attacking side. So we've got great offense versus a great defense. We'll see who comes out on top in this round number 2. Toronto have done their job, and now it's time for Seattle to do theirs.
Yeah, Seattle, they're slowly working up the progressions over towards A. Want to see if Toronto are going to send any players to try to contest this point, but they're just holding strong. They're playing for the kills on the exit. So they're going to be fully set up, giving up this A point, and now have to play defense over towards B for 2 minutes. They find a couple kills around the middle of the map, but at least Seattle were able to extend that time. Now it's all about wrapping back, getting some bedroom control, or deciding a 4-man push through Sandy to take that backside.
Right now for Surge, you can see it off the spawn, all spawning pretty much in the same spot over toward the kitchen. Gonna be about just trying to take down a few players, make your way through mid-map, and really just try to keep the forces alive. It's oftentimes a one situation, one sequence type of moment here on Hotel Control, but it's based off of numerous little gunfights, numerous micro details that allow for you to be in a favorable spot like that. And right now, Surge, they are hunting for it. They're searching for it. Nice long-range shots coming in from Civ. That's going to set up Pred to eventually find that. So here comes Seattle. 2 members on the flank, 1 off the spawn, and 1 that currently finds himself over toward the bedroom. So here comes the pinch. How's it going to work out for Surge? Pred loses his compadre, and Civ has to do the work, and he's able to. Surge starting to stabilize as Toronto have awoken everybody over at this B zone.
Yeah, everyone's on this side of the map. They're just making sure that they're flooding over towards bedroom and winning the trade fights as Scrapz and Hixie are able to find 2. So now with only a minute left, Seattle, they're going to send 3 players back towards bedroom. They want to fight for bedroom control, but the biggest player on the map is going to be aBeZy, who actually wins that gunfight on the flank. Simp also takes down Hixie, so already a 2v3 situation. The close spawns are still going to be there for Ultra, but what else can aBeZy get done?
Oh, accuracy able to find another one. Still uncontested toward the back. Player 3 inside arrives. AR on AR. In the meantime, okay, well, Mack loses all of his squad mates. Still at least gets 1 segment done over at B. And as we said for Toronto, they were able to grab the entirety of the round. So right now, Seattle still down by a decent margin and currently down in lives as well. 11 v 16. A job to do, and that timer continues to go. 30 seconds. Maybe 1 good push at this is all you've got. And as we said on Hotel, sometimes 1 is all that it takes. Seattle begin their attack, and Toronto look to hunker down.
Yeah, Toronto just have to hold strong for 20 seconds. Great movement right here from inside. Just simply play his life. Not able to get out. Exactly, she's going to go for the challenge. And actually picks up the kill, but the close spawns are here for Ultra. It's going to be an all-out trade fest in towards the couches. Scrapz is able to cut down 2. Scrapz finds 3. The rookie has finally came alive in this series. 15 and 11 so far on a 5 spree going into round number 3. Toronto Ultra hold strong on defense.
That is a wonderful confidence boost. Like I said, after winning that opening attack, to see Scrap starting to get things going. I know he's not super vocal right now, just given maybe the current KD, given the performance of the team. But after a round like that, sometimes that's all that it takes. Starting to get things going. Off of his first championship, wins MVP of the tournament. All eyes on Ultra coming into the Major IV Qualifiers. All eyes, especially onto him. Quite a confident young player, Jay. Definitely a very entertaining one at that. And oftentimes he is the difference maker for this Toronto team, as he'll look to be the catalyst that can maybe start to bring them back in this game and in this series. 2-0 start. We'll see if they can make it a clean 3. Long range shots actually with the Vaz. Problem being for him is that really no teammates are here. Still in hunt for that cruise missile, and not earn it.
Yeah, it's tough right there for Scrap. He whips out that Vaznev, thinking that the pressure's still going to be coming from bedroom. He was just trying to play a corner, play for that one kill, turn that cruise missile, but Mack is able to shut him down. And Seattle doing a great job again, just maintaining map control, pushing out towards bedroom, keeping the kills scrappy. As Toronto Ultra this time around do not find that early pressure on towards B. And they've only been able to find one kill this entire round so far.
I like what you did there, Jay, about the keeping it scrappy. I love that.
Like that?
Nice.
Like that?
See what you did there. Okay,
Yep.
all right. Well, Scrapz, speaking of him, quickly makes his presence felt. Right into the restaurant we go. Toronto, party of 4. Mack, well, he'll erase the other one. And so with that, really, the hostess can't officially seat them. So 27 seconds on the clock. Ultra, regardless of it, trying to get the full party here. The entire team is squadding up. Accuracy once more. There to erase one as Scrappy continues on his spree, now at 3 in a row. And with that, they will send Hixie forward. While the scout's not there to find information, thankfully for Ultra, they maintain, they stabilize, and now they've got an extra minute to work with.
And Kleenex already finds himself in towards bedroom, so you see that catches Pred off guard. He gets the read onto Simp. Now you have full bedroom control. All of Seattle are going to be over towards double dash. You can push right on forward. It's all about these next set of kills. Kleenex is able to find another. He's dolphin diving. He's pushing on the pressure, but he's not able to find that kill onto accuracy. Seattle able to find 3 kills, shut down that first push, and now force Toronto to reset.
At the same time, for Insight does not want to die in a position like this. If so, that could be dire to the map positioning for the rest of the team. So him staying alive right there instantly allows for them to be right back on this objective. So what could have been the last push now allows for this one to be a much more healthier one at that.
3
Mack
dead.
eventually falls, and with that, it is 3 down. Sib, the only player in ear's distance, has to get something done. There's one. There's 2. Does he have a third? Vaznev in hand, ready for the chow, eventually falls. Chaos going down at this B point, as it is all up to Insight. He gets taken down. Pred ends up finding 2 himself. Surge will hold, and now for Toronto, 30 seconds to go.
They got one more push. Got one player in Kleenex who's trying to decide if he's going to work on the D flank or cut through middle arches. He's just going to try to team up with his teammates, fight through front bedroom, and that's a great way to start. Taking down Pred from top bed. Scrapz with great shots to take down Mack off the Godheady. Seattle just have to win a couple gunfights, but they get all cut down. And now the stack is going to be here. Toronto Ultra trying to close it out now.
Pred, long range shots, at least takes away 1. Mack does as well. 2 players on the point for Ultra. Can they hold? Yes, they will. Ultra answer back here in game number 3. When they needed some life, when they needed an answer, they are able to have one, and a commanding one at that. A nice little 3-0 here on Hotel Control. It's been their stomping grounds, and that was indeed a stomping, my friend.
Yeah, that was just good work from Toronto. They only had to win 1 defensive round, which almost went down to the wire, but they were not worried at all. They clutch up on that side, and then even on the attacking rounds, you start off with early pressure towards B, you get 2 segments, and you rotate over towards A, you're able to close at that point, extend time by a minute, and then with 2 minutes left, all they had to do was capture that 1 segment over towards B. All it took was 1 set of kills in that very first round, and then in that final round right there, Ultra just once again found the most important kill on the map, and that was Pred towards top bedroom. I would like to see Pred just simply play a corner, make your life a little bit more valuable, because you were the only player on that side of the map. But once you take care of him, Ultra wants some insane gunfights towards the child, towards Godheady, just knocking players off left and right. You find all the kills, you get the spawns all the way across the map from Seattle. The stack is there, and Toronto Ultra showing why they are the best control team in the game.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Indeed, Toronto Ultra making game 3. Well, actually, that's what it looks like. That is what this Toronto team is supposed to look like. As you said, the best control team in the game, undoubted. And I don't know, man. It just feels like when it comes down to this game, specifically, I know we could, give some critiques on game 1 and game 2, but it just feels like in control, they're just so great at just maximizing certain situations. It almost just feels like this team, when it comes down to their arrows on the map, they just can quickly conform together. I don't know. It just feels like we watch certain teams in control. They just have the issue, the error of knowing when to jump on that team as a collective. And for Ultra, they just know the timing. They know exactly when to do certain things. It just feels like everybody's on the same sheet of music, at least when it comes down to this very game mode. Great work from Toronto. It's a crazy round one for them, and then from there, as you said, they win on defense. They win a second offense here in round 3 to get the nice little 3-0. So out of sight, out of mind. It's not going to be a 3-0 today, but problem being is that we've got that Fortress HP up next. Seattle, well, this is one that they absolutely love, and for Toronto, they're going to have to go through a very, very difficult Surge team just to see that game 5, Jay.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be tough, man. This is one of their auto vetoes in the beginning of the year. They started to expand their map pool, throw this in a couple series and see how it goes. They're sitting at an overall record of 2-3. But the biggest thing that stands out for me when I was looking at the numbers is their hold percentage. On a map like Fortress, where you have a majority of money hills, that P2 to that chain at P3, that is where you get a majority of your points. And then you're going up against Seattle, who are the #1 breaking team on this map. So this is gonna be a tall task ahead for Toronto. But just based off of what we saw in that last map, Scrapz finally came alive.
Yeah, he finally did. And like I said, it's what we brought up earlier, even coming into this series. Top left side of your screen versus the bottom right side of your screen. Two players who absolutely have the potential to take over games. I will say, so far for Surge, it feels like it's actually been the other 3 players who have been really what has cascaded them, allowed for them to at times be up 1-0, 2-0 in this series. But it feels like maybe Scrap answers back in game 3, and now this has the chance to be Pred erupting maybe in game number 4. Just an unbelievable amount of talent across all 8 players. But like I said, man, Scrappy goes off in Hotel, and then when we talk about Fortress Hardpoint, I mean, this just has Pred's name written all over it to maybe close out the Toronto Ultra boys here.
Oh yeah, that's the guy you got to put a lot of focus on, because Pred, if you allow him to roam around your art, if you allow him to simply slay with that SMG presence all over the map, he is going to be the reason why you end up losing it. One of the best players in the game, statistically wise, doesn't matter what it is. The Predator is always going to find a way to get it done. So the full team collective effort so far in this series, but sometimes you just need a superstar. And on a map like Fortress, Pred is definitely the guy that you have to put a lot of focus on.
It just feels like there's a lot of weight. There's a lot of weight coming into this game 4. Like, the result of this map has massive implications on the rest of the CDL. I mean, we can get into seeding discussions about what this means for Seattle trying to get that extra 10 points above the Minnesota Røkkr, what it means for Toronto Ultra, our defending Major 3 champions, to start off Major 4 0-2, and they still have teams like Atlanta FaZe to face off against. Not going to be an easy task for either 2 of these squads, not just to get this game done, but the loser of maybe this map, the loser of this series. It definitely has got to hurt a lot. And so with that, Fortress HPs will return our eyes next. In terms of previous performances, it definitely sides with Seattle. We'll see maybe if Toronto, off of that 3-0, have got some momentum on their side. I know we've been talking about fast and aggressive SMGs, but we got to remember, Toronto has got one of their own. Kleenex could very well be a difference maker for Ultra. As we jump into P1, it is Seattle with the early time.
And that's good work already from Seattle, starting off on the bad side, even with Scrap hitting that beautiful nade to find that first bullet onto Pred. They won a majority of their gunfights. They're able to start off with the initial P1 time, and Pred already finds 3 in the feed. Now it's going to force Kleenex to slow it on down. You want to make sure you maintain this side of the map, but his teammates aren't finding any kills. Kleenex just going to strike, and now that's 3 dead. And look at the spawns. They're now going to flip. Perfect start for Seattle.
Yeah, great work from Surge, and now instantly for accuracy, I was going to say, he's in a big spot. He stays alive in that 1v1. Not only does he have the time, but he's got the crossfire. He drops, and now Ultra instantly knocking on both of those doors. Over at the steps, a big gunfight take, and Simp and Mack will deliver. Seattle coming through with a few haymakers to kick off here on Fortress.
Oh, Seattle are not making any mistakes, man. The SMGs are roaming. They're cutting down all the angles. Pred finds himself another 2-piece in the feed. Now look at where Toronto is spawning. They're spawning all the way at the next hill. They're probably going to decide to give this one more good push, because you know how impactful that P3 can be. Because they're going to put the pressure on from the front. Kleenex starts it off, but the SMGs on the side of Seattle Surge that came to play. Mack already 9-2 on the 7th street with a cruise missile, and you're not slowing down. You need to go. You know these gunfights are going to be big. You want to try to flip those spawns.
Oh, Mack says, come here. 8 in a row. now for Mackenzie, ready to melt another. Okay, well, it's the nade that has to take him down. Still, here comes Pred. Here comes Seattle once more. This is a 1v1 for some great map positioning. Can it be Pred who's able to take it? Insight. Oh, he ends up taking it down. Thankfully, the cavalry arrives regardless. So Toronto finally a chance to get on the board. And boy, do they need this time now, Jay.
And now we see what the number one breaking team is able to do on one of the more difficult hills to break on in. They find that first kill, but Scrapz playing a nice little corner in towards the stables is able to find two. Mack's gonna decide to invest that cruise missile. Everybody spam your attacks towards the hill and take that player off the site. Great work from Seattle, great communication to lead to that kill, but there's still a couple players here from Toronto able to find every other kill on the feed to hold down that push. And Ultra did not budge. This has been a full 60 holds for them to get right back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very, very impressive situation there out of the longtime teammates of Scrappy and Hixie. I mean, they're pretty much the only two players who are spawned up. Once that streak comes forward, they both win their fights, and from there, they make it a full 60, pretty much over at the fountain. So a neck and neck game, pretty much tied as we come in toward cannons, and here come those Vaznevs once more. And maybe it even could be a cruise missile for Ultra, depending on how Hixie, what he could do now in this position. Toronto with early time, and Seattle, given those spawns, are going to have a pinch established. They got to choose their timing carefully here. Able to drop two off the rip, and now for Hixie, oh, not able to find the cruise. Big gunfights for Seattle, not just for the time, but also when it comes down to streaks.
Oh, but Insight still trying to just stay alive as long as he can for his teammates to get back into the play. He's able to find two, stalls out a lot of time. Well, eventually the pinch to come right back on in, and Ultra so far running up that score. The great hold on this P4 hard point. You have the SMGs on the side of Seattle jump up towards the top windows, but that's another 4 dead in the feed. Toronto Ultra usually struggle on their holds, but completely have changed the script so far in this hard point.
Hello.
Almost a 40-point lead as Scrapz with the snap onto Simp.
Yeah, that is wonderful work coming in from Scrappy. Toronto Ultra, my goodness. How about the run that they have been on? As we said, just really based off of these last two hills. They were down early and have quickly changed the script up quite a bit. But into P5 we go. An opportunity maybe for Seattle to quickly get back in this game. Maybe have another lead change. But you take a look at those numbers, Jay. Take a look across the board. 12 and 10 for Scrappy. You've got Hixie, who's currently on another 3 spree. Insight, he's positive. Kleenex is Mr. Engagement right now. Wonderful work across the board from Toronto. These boys have woken up and then some. Bonds begin to flip. Head on a swivel there for Hixie. And really now it's about positioning for P1, getting set up for those next few spawns. It's about to be a crazy, crazy second set of rotations now between these two.
Yeah, it's all about these fights towards Art. You have a majority of the players from Seattle spawning on this side of the map, so they're able to relieve that pressure, take care of Scrapz and Kleenex, and maintain the better side going into our second rotation of hard points. But Hixie, he's just waiting for his time to strike. Dead Silence is about to run out, but just in the nick of time, he's able to reset it, finds that kill onto Mack, cannot find the second. They at least makes an opening for his teammates to now get out through stables, and now this is where these gunfights are going to be big. Seattle got to be ready for the pressure on the back end.
We'll see if they are. We'll see if they're ready for it. Mack having a wonderful series so far. Another excellent hardpoint beginning for him and Pred. 17 and 14. Pretty much for both of them. Mack continues to stay alive, trying to have some shifty movement over at P1. Getting tagged up and nearly bagged up. Pred, he'll get dropped. And how about the 3-piece there for Toronto? Not only do they take the time, but they also try to take the spawns. Big gunfights there for Simp as he falls. Toronto take the time, and now they've got the spawns themselves. All out chaos right now here on Fortress, but it's Ultra who finds themselves in the best of positions.
Oh, Toronto Ultra, especially Kleenex, is able to just find a couple kills on towards P1. The only guy on that side of the map, he knows that the pressure is coming in from double doors, but he's able to relieve that pressure from P1 side and now set up his teammates to get fully set up for this P2. They are just growing this lead more and more. Seattle had to try to find a break.
They do indeed. Ultra, I mean, this could be a huge hard point of which they pretty much close out this game if they're able to walk away with the remaining 40 seconds. Here comes Seattle as they are on the brink for a break as well. Toronto Ultra trying to make the reverse sweep, and right now in a great position to maybe send us toward that game 5. Still quite a bit of hard point to go, but let's step aside and go to the comms of the Toronto boys.
I'm going chip.
Major front push trap.
Yeah, I'm holding green.
Was
One's
that
hold on me.
Hey, one front. He's weak.
Yeah, front right.
Yeah, I'm up.
Another one. Yeah, I'm needed.
Stun front really weak.
See him?
It might be gate on me, bro. Holding it.
He's still P5, boys. Still P5.
Yep.
One shot ship as well. I should spawn in with you. Actually, no, I'm gonna spawn out. They're gonna flood this fast out.
Yeah, green.
They're gonna flood this fast. Spawn out, boys. Hold on. I'm behind the front as well. 2 seconds.
Yep.
Okay, now, dead.
They help Jimmy.
I'm okay.
Front now. Front dead.
Hey, weak. I'm dead now.
Last guy probably green. He's baiting his team.
Yeah, low green. Hit him once. He's going on the stairs now, top green.
Big 50.
Stairs, yeah.
I heard you.
I'll help gate, I'll spawn.
Okay, left front.
Up in gate. I'm maybe challenge front.
Yeah,
Up in
one
front.
front. One front.
Yeah, front. Front right. No, 2 front, 3 front. 3 front. One's absolute accuracy. Nice. Come on.
Guys, one shot, Jimmy. If you can challenge.
I've got you green again.
Actually,
Cammy, channel out.
one shot, bro. One
Up,
shot.
sir.
Just snake.
The guy crossed.
Back the nade.
He's laying down left
I'm
side.
gonna spawn in green, maybe.
One behind me. Find me, gate.
I want front.
Hey, dead.
One front again.
Just soak this.
I want front again.
Stay alive, stay alive.
Yeah, I got
Green screen.
You gonna chow me?
Yeah, I'm just trying to bro. One shot.
Push.
Abso-fucking-lute.
Top green. I
18
need him.
seconds. 18 seconds. What's this, bro?
See the guy front.
I'm gonna stay in green.
about?
Gotta be in
Front.
green, bro. He's gonna kill wearing green.
Bottom pillar's dead. They got time on this break, boys. They got time on this
He's on the
break.
bench. Mack, he's back to the P1 truck.
Stay your time on this break.
And Toronto Ultra's comms, man, they're so silky smooth. It's everyone's just relaxed, feet kicked up. It's like they're not even down 2-1 in this series, as they have been able to get some good time off of that P3 hard point 2 times now, to where they now have a 50-point, 60-point lead. And now they're on the brink of finding another break in towards P4. That's another 3 dead. Seattle just can't get a good setup.
It feels like for Klidex, like he's just like, all right, guys, I'm Nastie, I'm Spider-Man, I'm jumping around, I've got their spawns, I'm doing everything right now, I'm the best player in the game. Like, it just sounds calm, cool, collected. Ultra, you would never know that they are up right now in the midst of trying to make the reverse sweep. Klidex, that's now gonna be 3 in a row. His stat line, unbelievably impressive, positive 10 as it stands. But for Seattle, try to make their last stand over inside of cannons. Down, but still not out. A few players on sprees. Accuracy would have been huge to maybe have that cruise missile going forward. He dies off to 5. And now from there, it is about heading toward P5. 181 to 217. Some work to be done for Surge and a lot of things to think about, Jay. You're thinking about spawns. You're also trying to make sure that Toronto is not getting any free seconds. We'll see how Surge look to handle quite a bit of negatives against them.
At least Seattle had the better side of the map over towards our side. They just have to find an angle, try to get that first blood, get this player off point. Do a great job of doing so. But Toronto, they are set up for the push. That's another 3 dead in the feed. Every single time I'm looking at that kill feed, it's Hixie finding 2 to shut down that pressure. 1 minute and 40 in the hill alongside his SMG duo, who's been having a phenomenal hard point so far. Toronto Ultra trying to force the game 5, and they're 10 points away from doing so.
Yeah, they're about to do it. Inside.
Oh, my.
8 in a row. Win sight indeed. Do we hear 9? You bet. And there's the game. Toronto Ultra clutching up here on Fortress HP. These boys have awoken and now have got themselves a game 5. Nearly made the reverse sweep yesterday versus Boston, and they need that energy today. It was Seattle who started off great here on Fortress, but Toronto turned things up to a new level. Insight ends the game on a 9 spree, but Jay, look at those numbers. They're from Tobias, 35 and 23. They're at a Klidex, 3,700 damage. Wonderful, wonderful work coming in from him.
Man, Ultra, they just came out swinging, man. Every single time they needed to have an answer, it was always that P3 hard point. Seattle Surge are the #1 breaking team on this map, but even when they found a couple kills, they had a cruise missile to work with. Toronto Ultra were not nervous at all. They won those clutch gunfights. They were able to soak that P3 for a full 120 for Seattle off that rotation towards P4, where they thought they had a good setup. But every single time, Toronto Ultra just flew right on in, found a couple kills, and were able to instantly find the break. Toronto Ultra, we waited for them to come alive. Unfortunately, it takes 2 maps for that to happen. But when they're the best control team in the game, those are basically guaranteed. You play hard points that you usually don't like to, but the teamwork comes out and prevails to now force the game 5, man. This has been a banger series. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute blast to see how this one winds up. As we said, huge implications on the entirety of the CDL. One of these teams is starting off 0-2. We'll see if it can be Toronto that is able to walk away with the reverse sweep, or if Seattle can come away with a massive dub in the seedings here for the year. A big one about to be on your screens in just a moment. Stay tuned for Fortress Search Destroy. It's coming up next.
The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck. Upgrade your game with the Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by the new series Citadel, premiering on April 28th only on Prime Video.
How's it going, friends, and welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We are starting off Sunday right. Toronto taking on Seattle in what is about to be a Game 5 thriller. Some massive implications on the seeding when we talk about this series. Kind of in inverse scenarios. So for Toronto, a win here would temporarily tie them with Atlanta for the #1 seed. Atlanta does have a match later today versus Florida. Seattle, a win for them gives them ownership back of that #7 seed, currently tied right now with Røkkr after their 2 home series W's yesterday. So Jay, a big one right now for both of these squads. Somebody starting off 0-2.
Yeah. It's definitely a big one for both of these squads, but Seattle Surge, they took Team B. They did not want to find themselves in this situation, playing their worst S&D map all the way into game #5. They don't want to play Hotel. They don't want to play Embassy. They also don't want to play Mercado. Taking Team B, Toronto had no hesitation choosing Fortress, where they have a 1-5 record on the side of Seattle Surge. Just hasn't been good, man. And it all starts on the defensive side. Simply are not good on that end. If you're on Toronto Ultra, it's all about winning your attacking rounds, but early into this one, Seattle gonna put the pressure over towards A. They know that there's no trophy systems to work with, as Mack is slowly trying to edge his way up towards the spawn plane.
How about this gun engagement? That very well could start off this game #5 here in round 1. First blood, gonna go to Kleenex, gonna go to Pred. 2 masters at their craft. It's a Great Dane, looks to lock things down, remain solid. Meanwhile, the Predator, the Aussie, on the other side looks to do the same. Engagement, and we'll have to hold off for now. In the meantime, that bomb still has yet to get planted. 35 seconds on the clock. Surge do eventually begin their pursuit. In the meantime, it is accuracy for the first blood. Pred also able to answer, and at the same time, Toronto are able to drop 2. Pred escapes with 2 HP. Bomb has not been planted, and here come Toronto. It now leads into a 1v1. Scrappy versus
Oh!
to Scrap. My God, what a start!
That's so tough, man. You're thinking Vaznet versus Tack up close and personal. You're going to put yourself in the advantage, but the hip fire is able to connect for Scrap and eventually leads to the snap. The fine 3 on the round. Secure round #1 for Toronto Ultra. Such a crucial round on the retake right there from Toronto, as they get it done, man. And that one's got us thinking, if you are Seattle, you get the first blood. You win a couple gunfights to keep the trade stagnant. But it's all along Scrap. Rookie of the year. Clutches up for Ultra.
And now, buddy, for Seattle, you're like, okay, cool. Like, we look to be, in a good spot to maybe win this opening attack. And now we head toward defense, which typically most teams will be excited about. But you're not if you're Surge, right? They have struggled mightily in spots like this, man. It's wild.
Yeah, defense for them on this map has not treated them well. They're 12th overall in that category, and even in the retakes, they only have a 12% chance at winning the round. So if you are Ultra, just try to work up towards this bomb plant. You see Hixie slowly trying to edge his way up. But Seattle Surge, they're just going to be there to pounce on him immediately as soon as they put that pressure on towards stage.
Oh, and a big gunfight win for accuracy. Another first blood. Tacked it up. That's pretty much like his 4th or 5th so far of this series. Mack runs in and ends up finding a double. It is all up to Kleenex, and he gets found out. Surge, as we said, struggled mightily with retakes. They struggled mightily onto the defensive side, and in their first opportunity at it, it is really not been cleaner than that. That could be their best defensive round on the season, Jay.
Oh, yeah, without question. And that just came down to the teamwork. No one was trying to be the individual playmaker to flank through our 2 top double windows. They all decided to push on from the front side arches, 2 through open, 2 through closed. And accuracy was able to start it off with that first blood, which eventually leads Pred to strike on through closed doors. Him and Mack combined for the final couple of kills, and Seattle Surge holds strong on defense. So far, their search and destroy this series has been a lot better than we've seen as of recent.
Yeah, I mean, coming into today, we were talking about how it's basically all been Pred. Like, they looked amazing at the Major IV Qualifiers, and then at the Texas Major, not so much. Even in their series yesterday, Pred was dropping bombs, and really was not the case for the rest of the squad. Today, it has been the total opposite, and what has provided them their opening 2 map victories. It was pretty much the entirety of the team, and then Pred pretty much doing his thing. Another opening and gun engagement, of which Pred and Kleenex are inches away from aggressing each other. Pred finds the timing. He's able to strike. Not only do they have the first blood, but they've got the bomb planted.
Hit bomb planted now in a 4v3 situation. Ultra just gotta do exactly what they did last time around. Pressure all out throughout the front arches, but they all get cut down. Great setup from Seattle. This time to hold down their power spots. Pred gets that information onto Kleenex, gets him one shot. Then you also get the information onto Hixie, trying to be the aggressor in through bottom art. When Pred is able to strike with that first blood, bomb is down. You saw Toronto, even in the man disadvantage, they knew that we had to put the pressure on from the front end. And unfortunately, none of the gunfights go their favor. Seattle Surge, now up 2-1.
I mean, could be talking about how Seattle, I mean, should be up 3-0 based off how that first round went. I mean, a few shots, one gun engagement, a few bullets connect opposite, and we're talking about how this is really 3 clean rounds from Surge. However, for Toronto, they have one on the board, but quickly for Seattle, they are instantly into that A objective. Sniper out and Scrap not able to land it. In the meantime, it's his trophy that actually ends up finding the kill. Nate tossed out. Kleenex will fall. And as the dust settles, we find ourselves in a 2v2, and somehow Scrappy is still alive.
Yeah, somehow, some way, Scrap, even with the sniper pistol in hand, close range engagements, he's still able to stay alive. But now, your main focus is on where is Pred, because this was a player who was pushed out towards the site. Scrap, unfortunately, going to fall to Sib. Now in sight. We know he has tremendous clutch ability in search and destroy, but not hitting your jump up is not going to help you at all. Bomb's still going to be down over towards stage, but that dead silence is also about to run out.
Yes, indeed. Right around the corner. Pred goes low. Insight's able to take it. Now brings it into the 1v1. 30 seconds to go. And that bomb, not in the greatest of spots for Insight, as we said, considering that that dead silence is no longer going to be an option for him. Time continues to tick, and it is all on to what Jamie Craven can provide us with. A 1v1 still on the cards as Sib, patient as ever, holds his irons. Did Insight get the visuals? He does. Tags him up and goes for the plant. And this is going to be successful. Now bringing the focus onto what Sib does next.
Oh, and Insight's playing this beautifully with the great snakes towards the stage, but Sib with the shots. 6 HP left. Able to hit a beautiful, beautiful angle in through the open arch. Jumps up on the ledge and finds that kill onto Insight. Tells him, no, you aren't going to win this one versus me. As Seattle Surge with 2 defensive rounds so far in this search and destroy. But what a clutch from Sib to not be the aggressor in that situation. He allows the bomb to go down. He trusts his gunny a lot more. And it comes out on top to now put Seattle up 3-1.
That is a monumental 1v1 there for Sib. Rarely do we see a smile. And Jay, we also got a wink from the guy. My word. You know it's a big round when you see a smile coming in from that man. Kleenex on the other side, trying to get Toronto right back in this. Fred at least makes the man count that much more favorable. So it's a 2v4 that now brings it into a 2v3. Thankfully, you've got the Aussie and you've got the hot shot coming in from Sib. We'll see what they can do with this positioning. There is a lot of time still on the clock left.
Yeah, and Sib's 1 kill off of earning that cruise missile. So he's probably just going to try to play for this bomb plant. And put himself in a nice little angle to at least play for 1 kill. So now Pred finds himself all the way pushed up towards open. They're ready for the wrap back. He has that angle. So many things have to be watched, but Toronto Ultra trying to attack the Røkkr.
It's a bit of a tricky setup right now for Surge. High risk, high reward, and currently it is favoring them very nicely. Sib earns the cruise missile before hitting the deck, and with that, Hixie versus Pred. Hixie, the rookie, who's been known to go for many defuses in his career, is locking in another one. Does Pred go for the chow? Does Pred go for the chow? The shots are in, and Pred able to put in another massive 1v1 for the squad. It's Simp last round, and it's Pred this time. Laughs all the way through it. A smile for him, and Surge continue on their tear here in Game 5.
The sophomore just clutched up in a 2v4 situation. Pred is able to find 3 on the round. The 1 kill that Sib found was all that he needed to do to earn himself that cruise missile. But what a clutch right there from Seattle Surge. Not their best S&D map, but obviously they've been putting in work on the back end to get a lot better at it, and it's been showing so far. Up 4-1, cruise missile to work with. Toronto Ultra, they got to switch it up. Let's try to get this bomb down. But Pred, he finds the timing. He finds another first blood.
I mean, that's just a perfect example. I mean, to kick off this round of just the way that Pred can attack you. Instantly goes for the information toward bottom. Just the one angle that Toronto decides to not send a player this time, and then ends up tagging up HyDra, who's going for the bomb plant. Wonderful work coming in from Surge as they have invested 2 dead silences here onto the SMGs. Hunting for info, and here comes the cruise missile as well. Wonderful work from Surge, and here comes the cruise. Ends up finding the third. It is all on to Insight. Found out, and Pred is running through happy. A 6 spree for him. And Seattle can do no wrong. Muscle up, some smiles, some winks. Everybody's feeling good. Some dolphin dives as well, Jay.
This has been flawless search and destroy, man. Seattle Surge, they struggle on their defenses. They're clutching up on a couple of those, but on their attacking rounds, 2v4s, does not matter. They have that ice in them today. As this time around, Simp says, we're up 4-1. I'm going to invest the cruise missile right now. I'm not going to wait until it gets more down the line. You get that first blow out to the player putting on that bomb. And you call in that cruise to get all the information to eventually lead to all the kills. As Pred earns himself a cruise of his own. This is looking like it's over for Toronto Ultra, man. They got to find something.
Yeah, it feels like for Surge, it's not if, it's a matter of when. And maybe it could be sooner than we think. Cruise missile established. Surge are ready to get this one done now. They had a 5-1 advantage in the last game, and allowed for Toronto to come screaming back. In his accuracy, he was able to put 2 of the Toronto Ultra members down. So it is instantly HyDra and Insight left alive. HyDra tagged up but not dropped. Tries to go for the stake. Holy chows! And makes him have to rethink that gunfight. The rookie with some confidence now has made his way into the A site as all things begin to pause.
2v2. Actually slowly working his way up. HyDra's going to be able to take him down. Now it's all left up to Pred. 1v2.
Oh, and Pred, this is a gimme. This is a free kill there for Pred. So 30 seconds left. It is him versus Insight for the series. Bomb is going to be over at A, but Pred maybe smells blood in the water, living up to his name. Maybe wants to go for the gunfight. Insight with some tags on the back. Pred went for the route, but Insight clutches up and stays alive. Toronto, just by the skin of their teeth, keep this series afloat.
Yeah, that was just good repositioning right there out of Insight. He knows that Pred likes to be the aggressor, potentially wants to hit a route, and it plays out perfectly. So he backs his way up all the way towards bottom maps, catches Pred on the rotation, and is able to keep Toronto Ultra in this search and destroy a little bit longer. But now you just have to figure out what mid-round adjustments you have to make. It's always been Pred striking on that first blood, taking your bomb carrier down. So they switch it up this time around. You get a couple SMGs that are going to be aggressive towards the arch. It should be a free bomb plant.
And as we said, maybe try to make Seattle, and we've talked about the stats, we've pretty much thrown those out the window, but on their defensive sides, historically, they have struggled. So with that instant bomb plant, what do? Pred, again, able to drop Kleenex for the first. Another first blood for Seattle. Does he have another one cooked up? Insight, knowing how valuable his life, especially is at the later stages of rounds, trying to stay up. HyDra ends up winning his fight. Toronto down in numbers, but thankfully, they've got the time at their side. Here comes Seattle.
And HyDra pops that dead silence, so he's thinking, Scrapz, if you can stay alive as long as you can, I'm going to hit the route. Accuracy looks like he puts himself in a position to at least read it, but Scrapz is in such a great spot. You get this player off bomb. HyDra finds the last player. It's all left up to Pred. No time to defuse. And Toronto Ultra starting to fight back round after round. They know that Seattle tend to struggle on their defensive side, but it was all on shutting down Pred from getting that player off bomb. You whip out the SMGs, you get aggressive towards the arches. Then even in the 2v3, Scrapz put himself in a great position to stalling out that clock, allowing HyDra to hit that flank and eventually clutch up on the round. Ultra now down 5-3.
Jay, why does Toronto keep doing this to us? They're starting off slow in series, and the game 2, they started off down 5-1, brought it back to at least around 10, down 5-1. Now they've got it to 5-3. Can we see another round 10, maybe around 11? Ultra starting to feel some life. And can Surge put them to bed here? Another chance to do so. And it could be Pred who comes through with the kills. That's 2 to start. There's the third. It surely should be a W here for Seattle. They can smell it. They can feel it. They're about to take Major III champions down, and there it is. Doing it in the search and destroys. Holding off the reverse sweep and getting a massive W for the squad. Taking back that number 7 seed. And what a game it was, Jay. This one had it all.
It had it all indeed, my friend. All the way to a game 5, not the round 11. But what a series it was from start to finish. Seattle Surge, we had questions on their hardpoint game. They at least take the first one. We also had questions on their search and destroy as of recent. They were 1-5 in their last 6, but they clutch up and take 2 versus the Toronto Ultra, who are usually a great search and destroy team. But when you give yourself such a comfortable lead, going up nice and early into these S&D rounds, clutching up 1v2s, clutching up 2v4s, earning yourself some cruise missiles, something has got to go your way. They find 7 out of the 9 first bloods in this game number 5 to not allow Toronto Ultra to get that reverse sweep, man. Seattle Surge, this is a series that they needed. This is a series that they needed after a very tough loss yesterday versus the LA Thieves. They get it done on their very worst S&D map all the way into game number 5, man. Seattle Surge just had some serious ice at them today, man.
Yeah, they've been trying to avoid Fortress like the plague, and after a performance like that, I think you should maybe see it a few more times. But
100%.
Impressive job from the entirety of the squad. And I'll be honest, man, I feel like accuracy, how great was he in this series? We talked about the numbers coming into that game too, about how he needs to maybe be a little bit more active in the opening engagements, puts up wonderful numbers on the LSCLO, and then as you said, 4 first bloods and a 9-5 performance here in game 5 for the squad. Excellent team victory here for Seattle Surge as they're able to at least finish with a W after week number 1. That's going to do it from the twin father duo of myself and Jay. Desk, we toss it back over to you now.
So handsome in the black and white, both of you. All right, let's talk about this matchup. Pred, the great white shark, leads his team in a game 5 on Fortress Search and Destroy. Seattle wins it. You should buy lottery tickets today, Ant.
Absolutely. We're talking about a Seattle team that has not won 2 search and destroys in a series all year long. And how did they do it, Allie? They win it in a game 2, and they go to game 5 on Fortress. They are 1-5 on this map. 12% retake percentage, which means if a team planted the bomb, they were not getting control and winning that round 9 times out of 10. And they fixed so many of their issues. We saw it. Pred usually goes out and gets that first blood. We've seen it time and time again, but they would fall apart after that. He was getting bloods here, but the teammates were involved as well, and they were active, open, and closed. They were supporting him, watching the windows. They played so good when they were converging onto these bomb sites. A new and improved Surge today.
Absolutely, I completely agree. I think, you know, we all would see that Fortress in that game number 5 for Seattle and just be like, come on, we cannot keep letting this happen. Clearly, they head into this matchup with a plan. The retakes, even in the earlier rounds, it was like round number 2 or 3 if you go back and watch. Seattle had a beautiful retake on site. Not a single player dropped. And we saw it again later on in the series. And a big shout out to accuracy throughout games 2 and 5, having a lot of those first bloods. And map number 2, him and Mack combined for 5. And map number 5, he had 4 first bloods on the rack. So getting more active in those opening duels where he had like an 8% win percentage.
Yeah, and just capitalizing on your man advantage. They did it so well here, something that Seattle has struggled with throughout the season.
This was an awesome matchup. Allie, you called it last night. You said this one could go 5. Today it does, and it's the second upset that Toronto is going to suffer this week, an 0-2 start for our Major III champs. But your winners, Seattle Surge, and they earn your play of the game. Here it is, your Scuff play of the game, featuring Lamar, aBeZy. Let's take a look at this one. Actually, excuse me, this is Simp from game number 1, I'm told. Part of his 31-kill massacre. He gave them the dub at the very end here.
Yeah, this was a really good hard point to open up this series. Seattle Surge, although coming off that loss on HyDra, they didn't look that bad on it. And as we heard into that later end of this game, that P2 spawn almost played spoiler for the Seattle Surge, who have been in the driver's seat a majority of this game. But it's Sib who makes the heads-up play to make that route back over to that P3. He spawns Mack with him. The 2 players fall in the front, but they're able to lock it down.
So accuracy, final kill. I knew he was in there somewhere. We're going to be speaking
in with the captain here in just a moment. Nameless, we were talking about it. It's Ramadan right now. He's playing without food. He's focused up, though, and the man is dropping numbers here in week number 1. He joins us live. How we feeling, Omar? Congratulations on a very impressive finish to week 1.
You know, feeling good. We kind of needed a big bounce back win right here versus Toronto because the way that LAT series went definitely hurt us a little bit. So we knew we had to come back hard versus the champs. You know, they're a great team, so we were really locked in for this.
You guys definitely improved at the last major. We saw you finish in the middle of the pack, but you haven't been able to find success in the online qualifiers. What were your thoughts when you saw the schedule? You had to face LA Thieves and Toronto in opening week.
We knew it was just our luck, you know. We came off a tough, heartbreaking L at the major, and then we come in and we have super hard schedule at the beginning of this split. We just knew we had to buckle down, but practice has been kind of rough on us the last couple weeks because it's been Ramadan, so me and AG have been fasting, so practice has been kind of rough. We haven't been able to get to like our peak, you know, prime performance yet.
Yeah, for sure. And aBeZy, I have to say, the past 2 matches, you have been playing to a step above of what we're used to seeing from you, and even during these tough times. So, I mean, huge ups to you, as well as that game number 5. You had 4 of those first bloods. That is usually Fortress S&D, where you guys tend to struggle. We see that in a series, and we're all kind of like, oh God, Seattle, please not again. What have you done to kind of change your pacing when it comes to that map mode? Because you were the front line of a lot of that success today.
You know, I had enough of being like very mediocre in S&D this season. Usually that's been my bread and butter game mode for pretty much my whole career, and then this season has just been pretty rough for me personally and as a team in general too. So I kind of just been going back and watching a lot of VOD, watching what players are doing very well on what maps, and just trying to pick things up and, you know, improve that game there.
Lamar, you guys had some really good adjustments today in the search and destroy, and then also, you know, every time we watch you guys play Fortress, team would get bombed down, you weren't able to retake. It seemed like the communication was there because the timing of the challenges were all there in unison. Was that something you guys went over, like we need to calm better in these tense moments and when we're getting ready to retake bombs?
Oh yeah, 100%, because our comms are usually insane in respawn game modes, you know? So for us, it's like, why don't we have the comm in the slower game mode when it's easy? It should be easier to comm that way. When it's panic and chaos, we're yapping, going crazy, like calming every little thing, and we're like, why can't we do this when it's so slow in S&D? Yeah. So we kind of just been harping on that, and that's definitely helped our S&D game.
Lamar, we've been looking at the CDL point standings. You guys are currently tied in 7th, now jumping up and locking that in for sure. Tell me a little bit about your season so far. Everyone else making roster changes. How has the Surge decided to stay with the original lineup, and what have you guys done to improve?
You know, we just believe in each other. This team's more of a brotherhood than even a team, so our faith is unwavering within each other, and we know what we can do. We know we have some magic in the tank still from what we've created from the beginning of last season, and we weren't going to let that go to waste. And then to improve, you know, it's just, for us, it's always about putting our head down and grinding and putting in that work, and usually when we do that, the results do show.
I love that mental state. A true leader. That is accuracy. We'll let you go celebrate with the team, bud.
I appreciate it.
Seattle Surge picking up the first W on a 3-dub Sunday. When we come back, we've got match number 2. Nameless, you getting excited?
I am getting excited. It's OpTic, ain't it?
Yeah, we got London, the rematch going up against London Royal Ravens. Another Game 5 round 11? Probably not. But we do know one thing for sure. It's time to get your gear. Shop.callofdutyleague.com. And Allie, it's not just these beautiful hoodies, t-shirts, hats, and more. We also have gear in our video game that we make here at Call of Duty.
Yes, we can all spawn in next to each other and rep some of our favorite squads. I've been cycling kind of around, but I know I do see a lot of OpTic Texas skins in my games. I'm gonna need you guys to step it up, though, because you have not been shooting like Shotzzy lately.
We need more Surge. I'm dressing like Simp tonight, baby. We're going to break. When we come back, it's that second battle. London Royal Ravens taking on OpTic Texas. Don't go anywhere. This is a Major IV Qualifiers.